It's Gardening Australia time again, so sit back, relax and enjoy this week's gardening journey. And hopefully we'll get you bolting out into your garden, but not until after the show, of course.
Driving through the suburbs of Perth, it's surprising the gardens you come across, but it's the gardeners behind them that are committed to creating their own special places through toil and dedication that really fascinate me.
I also love the little one up the top there, you know, with the little mosaic.
We join Andrew Laidlaw, a judge at this year's Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show, to tour the prize-winning gardens and discover what it takes to win a gold medal.
And I'm in a nursery hunting for some beautiful native plants, which the wildlife in my garden will just love.
I'm very excited to be here at Government House. I think it's amazing to have a fully functioning vice-regal estate here in the heart of Brisbane. I can't wait to see the gardens.
We have thousands of people through here every year. They love the experience. It's the people's house, as I say over and over again.
Queensland's Government House is the vice-regal residence of the Governor, currently His Excellency the Honourable Paul de Jersey.
You know, when we have receptions here, I often say to the people who are there, and what do you think of Government House? Almost invariably, the response is, well, we were immediately struck when we came into the grounds and experienced those beautiful gardens.
Government House is also known as Fernberg, German for distant mountain. Richard Simmons is the horticultural coordinator.
We go back to 1865 and officially the residence of the Governors of Queensland in 1910. So we have well over 150 years of horticultural gardening here.
So how big are the gardens?
14 hectares in extent overall. Probably about 4 of those are what we'd term formal landscaped, and then about 10 hectares of natural remnant bush.
Colour is clearly an important part of the formal gardens. How do you go about achieving it?
We have a number of areas where annuals are very important. They create the colour and the diversity within the formal landscape. This one here that we're in at the moment is some lovely red begonias with a hedged Kufia Mad Hats selection here.
And how often would these change during the course of a year?
We look towards 3 to 4 rotations around the seasons. However, when functions come along or special events are happening, we might change it up as well. Government House has a wonderful range of mature trees, and perhaps my favourite and most significant is this wonderful West Indian cedar.
Wow, it's rare and it's spectacular.
Yes, I suspect that it's one of the earliest trees, and well over 100 years old for the gardens.
This is quite a serious rose collection you've got here.
Roses have been grown at Government House since 1910. And it's one of our heritage layers.
What are your favourites?
Perhaps Papa Milan, Duet, Double Delight seem to be the roses that do well for us here.
And I like the touch of the Society Garlic Edge. Is that a little bit of companion planting happening?
Yes, it attracts the insects, it's got that smell, so hopefully reduces our amount of spraying that we have to do. I've also noticed the chef using the flowers for his cooking as well.
Fantastic. This Queensland Blue Couch lawn is absolutely immaculate, but it has an enormous amount of wear and tear. How do you maintain it?
There are probably 3 important steps, and they happen at a key time of the year in spring. We look towards scarifying, which is taking out all the thatch and the dead grass underneath the green tabletop. We would then core, which is about taking a plug out the soil and creating aeration and also decompacting the soil. Our soils are really shallow here, so that's an important component. Top dressing, that allows us to level out, get our levels correct, and also add some drainage. And then, of course, a fertiliser after that.
Now, this is an investiture lawn, but it's also a garden room, and it's enclosed by some rather lovely plants.
Yes, at the top we have Tiburtinas, a real classic for us in Queensland. And then underneath it's the beautiful copper leaves of the cane begonias give us that mid-level height. And then there's an intermingling of clivias with some seasonal colour and some New Guinea impatiens.
And just to finish the whole effect off, you've got a beautiful crisp edge of Mondo.
We're in the bushland, which is a complete contrast to the formality of the other gardens on the estate.
What are your favourite trees?
There are a couple down here in the bushland. The lovely tallow woods, which provide wonderful habitat. But at the moment, it's the grey gum. At this time of the year, it sheds its bark and exposes the new orange bark, which is almost an autumn flash of colour for us.
Well, I've had an amazing day looking at a wonderful garden, and you can too, because next Saturday, the 4th of June, Government House is having an open day. So if you're in Brisbane, use this opportunity to soak up this elegant and immaculately maintained garden.
It's great being able to name every plant in your garden, but it can really stretch your memory, especially if you change things around or get new plants. So here's a nifty idea that I've picked up in my travels. It's discreet, it's long-lasting and definitely pet-proof. And it looks just like a rock. But when you turn it over, there is the name of the plant, without the whole garden being filled with ugly plastic labels. All you need to do is find some rocks or stones that are smooth, and on the smoothest, flattest side, using some paint that's left over from an old job, just a little dab onto there, and that's going to be your surface on which you're going to put an awful lot of information if you want. There we go. Let it dry, and once it's dried, you can use a pencil to put all that information, the name of the plant, the date that you planted it or where you collected it from whom. Someone might have given it to you. A great idea. Pencil is better than pen because graphite won't fade and it won't get affected by rain or dirt. Finally, you put your secret rock label down at the foot of the plant. It's not going to go anywhere until you need to just take a peek and a reminder of what the name is of your beautiful plant in your garden.
Aphids are a common problem on the new growth of citrus. As well as sucking the goodness out of the plant, they can also spread virus diseases. Now, there are various ways you can treat it, but I find the simplest way for a severe infestation is just to snip off the infestation and pop it in the green waste bin. Problem solved.
I'm really delighted with the development of this wildlife corridor. All this growth in under 2 years. There's prickly plants which provide habitat for birds, grassy things doing well, but some of the lower story plants have really struggled. So it's time to go off and get some replacements. A native plant nursery, in particular one which carries a great range of local Indigenous plants that are suited to your conditions, is a great place to start. There's more popping up all the time, so why not see if there's one in your neighbourhood? I love to have birds in my garden, but they need more than just flowers for nectar. So I'm trying to get a range of native plants that have different seeds so that they can eat them. And I reckon the birds would love making nests from this foliage too. It's a native lemongrass, and I tried a few last year and they've been quite successful, so I want to get a few more. And I also want to try this wonderful bottle washer. Look at its lovely compact foliage. The birds will love the seeds, and I reckon it will do well. And it's also really important to have a range of beneficial insects in the garden. Now, I've already got some different types of goodenias along the wildlife corridor with gorgeous golden yellow flowers, but I'm really keen to get this beautiful silver foliage one called Albiflora. Look at that gorgeous foliage. It has a suckering habit, and I bet the beetles would love these white flowers. So I'll get a few of them. Now this one is a fabulous plant. It's a native ajuga called Ajuga australis, and it has beautiful purple-blue flowers on long spikes, very attractive. And I happen to know that the blue-banded bees love it, and I know I've got lots of blue-banded bees in my garden. So I'm keen to get some of those. It may actually die off in a really hot summer, but it should set seed, so we'll give it a shot. As well as that, I want to plant some more Chrysocephalum, or native everlasting. I have got some of these in my garden, and they did okay for the first year, but our long hot summer has given them a bit of a battering, so I'm going to try some more again, and hopefully they'll establish better. With these in the garden, it's bound to be a magnet for all good insects. Just 1 year after planning out our wildlife corridor, we were recognised as being an official butterfly site by the Butterfly Conservation Society of South Australia. So now the pressure's on to keep the butterflies and their larvae, caterpillars, happy. And this is a great way to do that. This is Atriplex semibicata. It's a particular prostrate form of saltbush, and it's a favourite food of the caterpillars of the saltbush blue butterfly. It's a really hardy plant, a great ground cover. So I need to get some of those. The caterpillars of the fringed heath blue butterfly love this particular Eutaxia diffusa. It's a wonderful dwarf shrub. It grows to about 1 metre high and has beautiful yellow and red flowers in winter. Adult butterflies are nectar feeders, so plants like this paper flower or Thomasia are perfect. It only gets to about 60 centimetres high, and it will be wonderful to fill in the gaps along my driveway. When we're creating habitat, we cannot forget about lizards and skinks. The best way to attract them is simply to have some hollow logs or some nice big rocks. And to make that look more attractive, I'm going to plant some of the local clump-forming grass trees or Xanthorrhoea. These are seed-grown, so they're much more affordable than buying big specimens. Well, I'm off to get these planted. Why not plant a few wildlife-friendly plants in your garden? You don't need a lot of space, because even a few plants can make all the difference to keeping the creatures in your garden protected, well-fed and happy.
There are some plants like beans, the beets, corn and carrots that really don't transplant well. They hate their roots being disturbed and they suffer greatly from transplant shock. But it's not so much of a problem. You just put them directly into your garden bed. And with carrots, it's as simple as this. Use your finger to make a drill. Get some seed and sprinkle it in the drill. And then just cover them over. Now, if you're a bit haphazard in your sowing, that doesn't matter either. You just thin out the plants as they grow, taking away the weaker and leaving the stronger. And that is about as fiddly as direct sowing gets.
Every March, the exhibition Gardens in Melbourne becomes home to Australia's biggest garden festival, the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show. And one of the most popular attractions is the show garden competition. We join Andrew Laidlaw, a judge at this year's show, to tour the prize-winning gardens and discover what it takes to win a gold medal.
It's great being a judge at the garden show. In fact, I prefer being a judge than actually having to build the gardens, because building the gardens is incredibly intense, and as exciting as it is, it's difficult. We awarded 4 gold medals in this show, and for a garden to actually reach gold, it has to actually show excellence both in construction, planting and general design. We are standing at the top of Show Garden Alley. And in show gardens, you've got to remember, everything is put together in a matter of days, and it's really challenging to capture a garden that looks like it lives there. It looks like it's been there for a long time. One of my favourite little gardens was this garden here. It's a really clever use of plant material. There's exotic species there, there's native species there, but what's really clever is that there's a great use of different textures and forms, and it all holds together really well as a massive planting, which I really love. I mean, this is a much slicker design, but what I really love is the use of the space here. You know, we've probably got a 2 to 3 metre fall over this site, and they've captured that with terraces, the pool, and created a place for casual al fresco living. This is a gold-winning garden, and I really like the way the designer, Peter Donaldson, has actually enclosed this space with a gorgeous, really contemporary structure, but also these beautiful, subtle textures of the plant material. This is a really clever design by Daniel Tyrrell, and this says to me that there is no place you can't plant a garden. This is a unique Melbourne laneway that you find at the back of a lot of homes in our inner city environment, and Daniel has created a genuine habitat, and you only have to look around and you can see bees, butterflies, the whole thing are just swarming around these plants. Plants bring life to this little corner space in Melbourne. This is another brilliant garden and a gold-winning award garden, and really very close to winning Best in Show. The extraordinary thing about this design is the construction. 3/4 of this garden is constructed over the lake, and all of the constructed elements are suspended on a steel frame, and the accuracy and the detailing in this construction is really magnificent. When you see a garden sign that says Best in Show, Best Gold Award for Design, the Mark Bentz Construction Award and the Plant Life Award, you know you've got a garden that has actually reached excellence in every marking criteria. This is a garden designed by Carol and Joby Blackman. To think that they won in those 4 categories, great effort.
We wanted to have something that was a little bit playful, because garden, it's good for our soul, it's good for our hearts and our health and our...
Yeah.
And we just think that there's something precious about greenery, and being surrounded and enveloped by greenery is a pretty powerful thing for people.
At a garden show this size, you never know who you'll bump into.
Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Jane.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
This young man here, he didn't win an award, but it's his first effort, and he's only 24. What's he learnt from doing that as a landscaper?
Well, he's learnt that it takes a long time to install these things, and he possibly didn't quite allow enough time, because sadly, he wasn't finished when we came around to judging. So all the people putting the show together, you know, they know we turn up at 3 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon, and it's really sad in a way, because he works so hard, and he's done a great job, but just wasn't finished. What I've really hoped to do today is give people an insight to the way we judge gardens, and it's all about judging gardens for good design. And what I would like to think is people see good design and that they can actually take elements of these shows back to their own home gardens.
Lots of people ask me, can I compost eggshells? And the simple answer is yes. Anything organic can be composted. And in the case of eggshells, they're packed with the mineral calcium, which plants and all those critters in your compost, such as worms, absolutely love. You can put them straight into the compost, but you've got to remember that worms only have tiny mouths, so it's better if you crush them up beforehand. The other thing I like to do is to create a supply of slow-release calcium, such as this, so that I can mix it in with my potting mix for plants such as citrus, which love their calcium. But there's a trick to this. If you get your eggs straight after you've used them and you crush them up, the little bit of egg that sits in the bottom will go mouldy and you won't end up with a nice container like this. So give it a little bit of a clean out, allow them to dry on the windowsill or put them in the oven after you've been baking. They'll dry. I put them in the blender and presto. And look at that, beautiful crushed calcium ready to spread into my potting mix. And here's another little trick. When you crack your eggs open, crack them higher up so that you've got a nice little container and you can use it to start your seedlings in. Another way to extend your garden budget.
Driving through the suburbs of Perth, it's surprising the gardens you come across, even alongside a very busy road like this one. But it's the gardeners behind them that are committed to creating their own special places through toil and dedication that really fascinate me. Set beneath a shady canopy on the banks of a winter creek, this terrace garden is the work of Tom Hogg, who has hand-laid every stone on the property. Still building, Tom?
Oh, good morning, Josh.
Looks like you
Nice
never
to
rest,
see
mate.
you.
How you going?
Yeah, it goes on and on. Well, as my motto is, if it's to be, it's up to me, and nothing will happen unless I make it happen. So you roll your sleeves up and get stuck into it.
Tom bought this 2-acre block at the base of the Perth Hills in 2000.
It'd been on the market for 12 months. It was that bad, nobody would touch it. There was Tacoma creeper 30 feet up the gum trees along the Winter Creek there. Bridal creeper, carpets of it further down. All this section here was full of wild bamboo. Watsonias right where we're standing.
Amazing.
Wild blackberry down here. I could see through the fog. I could see that it could be something really, really unique.
He had a dream to create something special. No plan as such, but certainly a thirst for hard work.
The only large piece of machinery that's ever been on the property was a big excavator, and gave me a line halfway up this hill here, right through to the gazebo, and he dumped hundreds of tonnes of sand back in up near the driveway in front of the house, and that was all used for backfill over the next couple of years.
So how did you tackle all the weeds that were right through?
I had to grub all that out by hand and then dispose of it as I went. And that was quite a task, but that had to be done before I could even start any of the retaining walls.
Did you have a plan from the outset?
No, I'm a visualiser. I always think ahead all the time. You know, I'll start on a project, I'll get excited about something, and I've got to do it, so I go to it, but all the time I'm visualising ahead of what I'm going to do in the next stage, and then it just evolved from one stage to the next to the end of the property.
Any themes to the garden?
The three main things that was always very prominent in my thinking was romance, fragrance, and the sound of running water.
Did you spend much time in here, in the romance garden?
Not as
Holding
much
hands with someone?
Not as much as we should. Jan and I have had some nice photos taken in here, yeah.
Fragrance is abundant through the garden, with numerous varieties of roses, gardenias, and some old favourites. Oh, here's another lovely scented flower, Brunfelsia. Oh, God, that's gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yesterday, today and tomorrow, the common name.
Yes, long flowering. It's a great shrub for Perth. Quite hardy too. An old favourite, that one. So have you got any favourites?
Yeah, I have, Josh, yeah. And I love the port wine magnolia. Come 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the whole garden is covered with this beautiful scent.
So it's quite mild early in the day, but it gets stronger throughout the afternoon, does it?
It's a very insignificant flower, but later in the afternoon you get a bit of wind and it drifts right through the whole garden. It's beautiful.
Small but packs some punch, hey? So the third theme to your garden, the sound of running water. This area speaks for itself.
Josh, I don't think there's anything more therapeutic than the sound of running water. It's so relaxing, it's just so beautiful.
This garden is more than a labour of love. It's allowed Tom to express his approach to life.
Well, I just like to think that when you've got something beautiful, that you should share it with others. And we have open gardens here, we have concerts, and I like to think that people can come and enjoy it, and thousands of people do. It's made me believe that I've got a contribution to make to the community, to bring the community more together, that we share, we care for each other, we show more love and understanding for each other and help each other. And I think that nature and a garden like this goes a long way to doing that. You get into a lovely, quiet, serene place like this, which is full of beauty, and it just lifts you. It's just another world. I love it. Give me a quiet, simple life anytime.
Well, that's another show done. But before we go, I'd just like to let you know that tomorrow is the first National Botanic Gardens Open Day. And to find out what special events are on at a garden near you, jump on the Gardening Australia website. We'll be back again next week. Let's have a look at what's in store.
I'm going crazy in this garden. It is so fantastically filled with rare and unusual plants. You will love it.
Now that there's a chill in the air, I'll show you some simple techniques to help protect your plants from frost.
And these naughty and annoying intruders into our gardens will be feeling the heat as I show you how to control weeds without using chemicals.